I suggest you leave. Now.
I haven't finished speaking to B yet.
Oh, that's all right. I think you said it all. Be happy, huh?
Please understand.
Yeah, sure. The funny thing is, it seems to be me that has the difficulty of making people understand.
My God, B, I'm sorry.
I'll drop in tomorrow and see how you've settled in.
Oh, thanks, Mrs. Morris, for speaking up for me. You know, and, well, everything.
See you, Mrs. Morris.
Goodbye, Mick.
I can't wait for you to see the flat.
Will you stop treating me like I'm some sort of flaming invalid?
Well, I never even kissed the man. How can I be in love with him?
What do you think?
It's all right.
Oh, I got the flowers this morning.
I don't like carnations.
But I thought women liked all kinds of flowers.
Yeah, well, we don't. And I don't like what you're thinking either.
What are you talking about?
Well, what were your thoughts when you were doing all this, eh? I bet they weren't as clean and neat as this apartment is. Tidy the place up a bit. Buy her a few flowers. Make a good impression. Then when I've got her all softened up... well, it's not going to be that easy, see?
Look, Chrissy, I don't know what you're on about. All I wanted was a nice little place for you and Elizabeth. Now, if that's wrong, I'm sorry, but there's nothing I can do about it.
Yeah.
Look, love, I don't know what's wrong with you. I thought you'd be happy to be out, and maybe you'll feel better tomorrow when you've seen Elizabeth.
Tomorrow? You mean we're going to...
I mean, I phoned the home earlier and arranged for us both to go out there.
Oh, Mick. Oh, that's wonderful. Oh, thank you, Mick. Thanks.
Must have been difficult for him. For both of them. I just hope it works out for the best.
I must congratulate you. Your little talk with Ken Pierce has obviously had the desired effect.
Well, I doubt that Smith sees it as desirable.
Yes, well, that's not our problem. The main thing is you got Pierce to see Smith for what she really is.
I didn't get Pierce to see anything. On the contrary, he told me that he was ending his association with Smith. He also felt that she could need our help to cope with the situation.
Yes, I agree. That's what I came to discuss with you.
Well, she won't need our help to take out her aggression on the other women.
Well, she may not react like that at all, Vera.
Of course she will. I've known her for too long. She's totally predictable.
Well, whatever her reaction, I think we should keep an eye on her and be ready to help in any way we can.
A couple of days in solitary would help her get over it, if you ask me.
Well, fortunately, no one is asking you. If you'll excuse me, I'll see how she's taking all this.
Here's to us.
Cheers.
What's wrong, Chrissy?
Nothing.
You're running hot and cold. One minute you're all over me, and the next minute you're off in some world of your own.
Am I? I'm sorry. It's just that I'm not used to being out yet, that's all.
Well, you better get used to it. Because you are out now. You're free to do whatever you like. whatever we like.
Now look what you've made me do. Why don't you stop mauling me?
It was an accident, Chrissy, and I wasn't mauling you. I would have thought that after all the time we've been separated that...
I would have just leapt into the cot with you. Is that what you're thinking?
I wouldn't have put it like that.
Yeah. Well, I don't want nothing from you, Mick. Can you understand that? I just want to be left alone.
Now, what's the matter with you, love? You look awful.
Bloody hell, Jude, I've really gone and done it now.
You want to talk about it?
I've got to tell someone.
Okay, shoot.
Well, you know that I've been getting these letters, don't you?
Yeah, I noticed. Who are they from?
Fella.
Well, that's great. You got yourself a fella.
Bloody isn't. I only did it because everybody else seemed to have friends on the outside, Bea and Chrissy and Lizzie, and I went and did something real stupid. I went and wrote to a Lonely Hearts Club.
Well, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, is there? I wish I'd thought of it.
Yeah, well, I did, and this guy wrote back to me, and now I've really buggered it up.
Well, how could you mess up something like that?
Easy. I lied.
Why?
Well, he wanted to know all about me, you know, likes, dislikes, the usual things. Well, I couldn't tell him I was just a plain, boring little crim, could I? So I made all these things up.
Well, that doesn't matter. I mean, he's going to write back to you, and that's what you want in the first place.
Yeah, but that's not all he wants. He wants a photo of me. Oh, and a camera hasn't been invented that can make me look 5, 10, 36, 24, 34.
Lying awake all night's not going to help nobody. You just got to accept it.
I'd accept it if I had a chance to fight for him. But what chance have I got in here, dressed like this? Her out there with all those dress shops and hairdressers.
I know, love. But you got to accept it because you can't change it.
Well, you're full of encouragement, aren't you, Lizzie?
Oh, no, there's no point in kidding yourself, Bea, or you'll drive yourself up the wall like that.
You think I know that? Geez, I could have had him. And it wouldn't have mattered how long I was going to be in here, knowing he was out there waiting for me. Or knowing we could be together in the suite, even if it was only once a month.
Bea, you can't change it. So you got to accept it.
Oh, change the record, will you, Lizzie?
Who's the parolee?
Betty Duncan?
How do you think she'll go?
Oh, I think she's got a fair chance, provided she doesn't get impatient and start abusing the parole board, which is why I'm going to speak to her now.
Well, good luck. Come on, Smith. Mr. Andrews wants to see you.
Well, I don't want to see him. I don't want to see anyone.
You're in no position to refuse. Come on.
Yeah, I know. Just something else I have to accept.
Oh, Angie, would you tell Betty Duncan I'd like to see her, please?
Mrs. Morris, could I have a word with you before you go? It won't take a minute.
Yes, what is it?
Well, it's about Doreen. You know, she's got a pen friend, a fella.
Oh, well, good for her.
Yeah, it's great. But he's asked her for a photograph, you know. She doesn't have anything recent except for one with her number splashed across the front.
I see.
So I was wondering maybe you could help out, huh?
Well, I've got to go into head office later. I could call in home and get the Polaroid. Would that do?
That'd be great. I knew I could rely on you.
My pleasure. Look, I wouldn't tell Doreen just in case they don't let me bring the camera in.
Sure.
I'll see you later.
Thanks again.
Oh, my God. My baby's not in there. Oh, Mick, please tell me my baby's not in there.
I'm afraid she is, love.
But it's a prison. It's bad enough she was born in one. They don't have to make her grow up in one, do they?
Well, that's how they look after our sort. But Elizabeth will be all right because she's got us. Look, if you don't feel like going in just now, we can come back later.
No way. No way, no, Mick. I want to see my baby.
Mr. O'Brien. How nice to see you again.
Matron.
And you must be Chrissy Latham. Or is it Christine?
No, it's Chrissy.
I see. Well, baby Elizabeth will be here directly. Oh, dear. Is that for her?
Yeah.
Well, I'm afraid you won't be able to give it to her now.
Why not?
It's a rule we have here. All our children are treated equally. Can't have one getting a new toy and not the others, can we?
No. No, all right, then I'll take it home and it can stay there for when she comes to visit.
Miss Latham, why don't we sit inside? Now then, my dear, I don't know what your plans are for this afternoon, but whatever they are, you'll have to alter them.
You saying I can't even see Elizabeth?
I've already told you she'll be here directly, but you won't be taking her home.
But why not?
Regulations.
Yeah,
Oh, I know what you're going to say, but please, let me finish. Now, Elizabeth is only a baby, but she does consider this to be her home. Yes, home.
It's a bleeding prison. All this barbed wire and fence all over the place. How many breakouts do you get between 2- and 3-year-olds then, eh?
Come on, Chrissy,
Don't
please.
you, Chrissy, please me. She's got my baby in a concentration camp. I can't even take her out. I mean, I knew I couldn't keep her, but I just wanted to take her out, that's all.
Miss Latham, your child will be given into your custody once we are satisfied that you are ready for it.
When I'm ready for it? I'm the bleeding mother, for crying out loud. I love her. What would you know about a mother's love?
More than you're obviously prepared to give me credit for.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
That's all right, Chrissy. I may call you that.
Yeah.
Believe me, I know exactly what you're going through. I also know there is no substitute for a mother's love. And I assure you, our prime concern is to see that our children are reunited with their natural mothers as soon as possible.
Elizabeth! Come on, Mummy. Come on. Oh, there's my girl. There.
I'm sure you can see she's being well cared for here.
Oh, yeah.
Now, don't be upset if she doesn't seem to know you. She spent a good part of her little life away from you, and she may even react against you at first. But don't despair. We're here to help both of you overcome that.
Yeah, thanks.
All right. Why don't you and Elizabeth get reacquainted? Go on. She'll get used to you in time.
Elizabeth, we've got to leave that there for the nurse. Yeah? Come on. Here's a good girl.
Better keep you in a safe place till later, hadn't we?
A place where prisoners are punished. That's what Wentworth's been in the past, but what are we seeing now?
Oh, you're the one's getting all excited about it. You tell me.
Oh, come on, Bea. You know what I'm talking about. You commit a crime and society demands that you be put away for a month, a year, 2 years, whatever. At the end of that period, society says, OK, the debt's paid. Now, you can carry on where you left off. Now, we know it's not that easy, don't we?
Yeah, I suppose.
So what are we doing about it? We work to have society accept that once the debt is paid, we can re-enter their world...
Hang on a minute. You're paid to be here, right?
So?
So cut out this we stuff, huh? It's us and you. You and them. Got it?
OK, well, I'm paid to be here. But does that mean that we can't work together for improvements? What about the non-censoring of mail, the conjugal visits?
Fat lot of good they did me.
And some people don't get letters. Is that any reason to stop trying just because you personally don't cop any benefit?
No, I suppose not. But...
But what?
Why me? Why always me?
You're the leader. You're Queen Bee.
Yeah, and I've heard that from every do-gooder who's been through this joint, and I'm fed up with it. I am sick to death of carrying a load, of being the go-between, of being the leader. I just want some time and space to myself, Mr. Andrews, and that is all.
I want somebody who can be an example.
Get me what I want, and I'll be the model prisoner.
Now, you mean that?
Yeah, of course I do.
You've got a deal.
Yeah, and I've heard all that before, too.
Is that fun, eh? Yeah? Oh, come on, darling. Call me Mummy. Mummy? No, Mummy. Mummy. Come on. Oh.
It's time to go, love.
I am not procuring a man for Doreen. He's already written to her. is a pen friend, that's all.
Yes, well, I knew that this sort of thing would be going on once we stopped censoring the mail.
Doreen has the right to correspond with whoever she likes, and if she wants to send a photograph to her pen friend, then she has the right to do that as well.
Maybe so, but I don't think that you or anyone else has the right to encourage this sort of behaviour.
Why not? It's perfectly harmless.
Is it? The next thing you know, she'll be asking for visiting rights, and I suppose you'll approve of that, too.
It went well?
Yeah, I think she called me Mummy.
That's good, Chrissy. You're both coming along nicely.
Yeah. Ta. Oh, listen, that nurse that took Elizabeth away, she said that on a Saturday you let the parents take the children home for the day. And, well, we was wondering...
Chrissy, she had no right to tell you that, or to give you any indication that you might be able to take Elizabeth out of here. For a while, anyway. You see, you and Mr. O'Brien are in a slightly different situation to most parents. For one thing, you're not yet legally married.
Yeah, I know.
And secondly, you both have prison records. You're only just out on parole. And until we're totally satisfied that you have made your own adjustments, then for Elizabeth's sake, we cannot allow you to take her outside of here. You do understand, don't you?
No. No, I don't understand. I really don't understand.
Mail come yet, Mr. Fletcher?
No, I'm afraid not, Lizzie.
Oh, good. It was supposed to be here this morning.
Yeah, well, apparently there's been a strike of some sort.
Bloody strikes. Bludgers. They ought to bring the army in.
Smith, you want it downstairs?
What now?
Well, go with Officer Knox and you'll find out.
What's going on, B?
When I find out, Lizzie, I'll send you a letter.
Don't bother. It'll take a month of Sundays to get here.
It's the second time today she's been sent for. I wonder what's up.
Doreen, could I see you for a moment, please? Someone to show you.
Oh, yeah, sure.
What's going on? First B, then door. Bloody place is getting more like Canberra, all secrets.
Yeah.
Hey, where are you off to?
What's that for?
Well, it's to take your photo, of course.
Oh, but...
It's all right. Judy's told me all about your pen friend. I think it's great.
Do you?
Of course.
Did she tell you all about it?
I just told Mrs. Morris she needed a photo to send off.
Oh.
Well, is there anything else I should know?
Well, I have been handing him a bit of a line, Mrs. M.
Oh?
Yeah, what's this guy's name?
Peter Hope.
Yeah, well, she told him that she was 5'10", 36, 24, 34.
I see.
Well, you see, if I send a photo, well, he's going to take one look at it and that'll be it.
Well, not necessarily. Look, I tell you what I'll do. I'll take lots of close-ups.
Yeah, listen, if you wore something black, it even looks slim.
Yeah. And against a black background, I'd have even a better chance.
You want a coffee or something? Oh, it's tough, Chrissy. Bloody tough. That's the price we got to pay.
I've paid my price, Mick. They wouldn't have let me out unless I'd paid. I mean, what do they think I'm going to do with little Elizabeth anyway?
Oh, don't go upsetting yourself, love. I mean, let's face it. We have both been pretty stupid in the past.
And we've both bloody paid for it.
Hang on a minute. You know, the problem is that we haven't proved to anyone that we can behave. Well, not yet, anyway. So naturally, then... Oh, could I speak to the matron, please? They're not going to give us the benefit of the doubt at this stage. But what... Oh, hello, matron. It's Mick O'Brien. Oh, fine, thanks. Yeah, we got back okay.
Well, then, what can I do for you?
Well, you know what you said when we left there earlier about not being able to take Elizabeth home? Well, I can understand the reasons for that, but I was wondering if we could get someone, a responsible person, to come with us and stay with us. Well, would that make any difference?
Oh, it could, Mr. O'Brien. It could. Of course, it would depend on the third person. Did you have anyone in mind?
Yeah, Mrs. Morris, Chrissy's probation officer.
Yes. Well, provided Mrs. Morris is prepared to forgo half of her weekend. I think we can arrange something.
Thanks, matron. I'll call you back. Well, I just hope Mrs. Morris comes good.
Doesn't look too difficult to handle. Doesn't look much different from an ordinary typewriter.
You'll give it a go, then?
Is this what's going to make me into a model prisoner?
No. I was going to make you into a model prisoner. This is going to help produce literature for the blind.
What about my request?
Learn to operate the Braille typewriter and you'll get your time and space. But I'd like to see this in operation 5 days a week.
What did Mrs. Davidson say, though? I mean, what about my duties in the laundry?
There's plenty of people who can do your job in the laundry, Bea. Mrs. Davidson will recognise that this is far more important work.
It'll be nice to do something useful for a change and something that's going to help others.
Think of all the books you'll read.
Yeah.
Okay, well, shall we go and see Mrs. Davidson?
Yeah, okay.
It's been a long time since I used this thing.
Wentworth Detention Centre. Yes, she's right here. It's for you, Mrs. Morris.
Mrs. Morris speaking. Yes, Chrissy. Is anything wrong?
No, Mrs. Morris.
Have you seen Elizabeth?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we went to see Elizabeth this morning. Oh, yeah, she's really good. It's just that they won't let us take her out of the grounds.
Well, that'd be right.
Well, except that is, if we had someone with us, you know, someone responsible that they could trust. Well, like you, Mrs. Morris?
I see. And when exactly do you want me to be chaperone?
You mean you'll do it?
Depends on when it is.
Well, the next visiting day is Saturday.
Oh, dear. I was going out with Bob, but...
Oh, well, it doesn't really matter. It's...
Never mind. It'll be okay. You'll understand.
Oh, thanks, Mrs. Morris. Oh, that's wonderful. Thanks ever so much.
See you Saturday. Oh, dear. What have I done?
Well, aren't you the clever one, eh? To think of that.
Bring Smith in.
Come in, Bea.
Well, Smith, Mr. Andrews has just been telling me about his plans. Do you like the idea?
Yes, I do, Mrs. Davidson.
Yes, so do I. I think it's excellent. It should set a good example to the other prisoners, too.
That's what we thought.
Mrs. Davidson's agreed that you should have a place set apart where you can work undisturbed.
Thanks, Mrs. Davidson.
Well, that should do us. There are about 8 different ones there.
Can I have a look?
Oh, you better have a look. You have to choose one to send off to you, Mr. Hope.
Oh, I don't know. Why don't you pick one?
Now, don't be silly. I think they're very good. They're very like you.
Yeah, but that's the trouble. See, I might pick one that he thinks is really awful, and that could ruin my future. I mean, you never know, do you? This could lead to, well...
Doreen, you don't even know the man.
Yeah, well, doesn't that make it all the more exciting? I mean, isn't it romantic? Imagine what it's going to be like when we meet in the flesh for the first time. Just like real intimate strangers.
For heaven's sake, take them inside, pick one out and post it off.
And they reckon the camera doesn't lie.
Well, just make sure you don't. Promise?
Yeah, okay, Mrs. M. Thanks very much.
Adams. Shepherd. Amar. And Burns.
Oh, bugger it. I thought I'd get one from Josie.
Well, you can't get one every day, you know.
Well, why not? Dor does, well, almost every day.
Is that from your Mr. Peter Hope?
Yeah.
Did you get the photo?
How do I know? I haven't read it yet.
Yeah, well, you sent it only a couple of days ago. You should have it by now for sure. He'll
Look,
have it.
Jude, just let me read it, okay?
Sorry.
Mr. Fletcher, do you reckon I'd be able to make a phone call? I haven't used my allowance for weeks, and well, I'd like to make it now.
All right, Burns, come on.
Who's she ringing?
No idea.
Hi. How you feeling? Haven't done the dishes yet.
No, I haven't done the bloody dishes. Do the dishes yourself. I'm not your bloody lackey, am I?
No one said you were, but you are going to be my wife.
So, I'm going to be your wife. Does that mean I have to spend all my time cleaning up after you?
You'd rather stare out of the window all day?
Yes, I would.
Okay.
And I don't need you behaving like a bloody martyr either.
Chrissy, I know you've only just got out, and I know you've got to get yourself together. We both do. But you are making it damned hard, and I am just about at the end of my tether.
Great. Why don't you go and strangle yourself with it?
You don't care about me at all, do you?
No.
All that carry-on the other day was all show, wasn't it? You're being nice to me because I came up with an idea that might let you have Elizabeth here for a day.
Yeah, that's right. Elizabeth is all I care about, see? I don't care about you. I don't even care about your bloody dick. Or your bloody island. None of it. Just Elizabeth, see? And if I have to marry you and it means me getting her back, I will.
And if I refuse to marry you, that might upset your scheme a bit.
Yeah, but you won't, will you? Because you want her back just as much as I do. So we're stuck with it, Mick. We've got to get married, see? Now you know where you stand, don't you?
Yeah, well, thanks for putting me in the picture.
Don't mention it.
I'll tell you one thing, though. Sure, I want Elizabeth back as much as you do, but I also happen to love you very much. So that gives me 2 good reasons not to give up. So I'll wait, Chrissy, no matter how long it takes. Because one day you're going to wake up from this daydream you're living in, and then who knows? Maybe you'll find out that you love me too.
Yeah, well, don't hold your breath, will you?
Oh, no, I'm not interested in sport or anything like that. Work?
Who's she phoning?
Didn't I tell you?
I've no idea. One minute she receives a letter, next minute she's making some mysterious phone call.
Well, she's entitled.
That's right.
I know she's entitled, but I still think this non-censoring of mail and phone calls to persons unknown is a bit dangerous.
I wouldn't get worried unnecessarily, Jim. They're not going to abuse these privileges in case they lose them.
Really? I wish I had your confidence.
Yeah, but... Yeah, I know where the lake is. Yes, I could meet you there. OK. Oh, I've got to go now. I'm ready to go back now, Mr. Fletcher.
Are you indeed?
Look, Doreen, I'm sorry. I couldn't help hearing. Did I just hear you arrange to meet someone on the outside?
Oh, yeah, but I was only joking.
Oh, I hope the person you arranged to meet enjoys the joke. Who was it?
Peter.
Who?
Peter Hope.
Oh, for heaven's sake, Doreen, what are you thinking of? You know perfectly well.
Just a minute. Who's this Peter Hope character?
Well, you'd better tell him.
Well, he's this fella I've been writing to, Mr. Fletcher, and I got his address from a Lonely Hearts Club.
I see. And I suppose you told him you're a prisoner at Wentworth?
No.
No, I bet you didn't. So they won't abuse a privilege, eh?
Well, I haven't done anything wrong. There's nothing wrong in having a pen friend, is there?
Well, we'll see if Mrs. Davidson agrees with you. Come on.
Just a minute, Mr. Fletcher. Perhaps if I ring this Peter Hope and explain...
No, I think you'd better see Mrs. Davidson too, Mrs. Morris.
I can't believe this. And you, Mrs. Morris, how could you go along with it to the extent of taking photographs to send to this Peter Hope?
I had no idea there was any deception. I went along with what I thought was a simple exchange of letters.
Yeah, that's right, Mrs. Davidson.
No, it is not right, Doreen. None of it is right. All these lies you so blithely admit to. And what about this poor fellow who's going to keep the appointment to meet you in the park tomorrow? Will he think it's all right?
No, Mrs. Davidson.
No, of course he won't. Well, have you any suggestion as to how you're going to explain it all to him?
Yeah. Maybe I could write to him again.
And say what?
That I'm real sorry that I missed our appointment because I was held up at work or something.
More lies. You haven't understood a word I have said. No, Doreen, I am going to make sure that you face up to your responsibilities this time. You and I are going to keep that 2 o'clock appointment tomorrow. And you are going to tell Mr. Hope everything. Do you understand?
Do you think that's wise, Mrs. Davidson?
Well, do you have another suggestion?
Well, yes, Mrs. Morris or I, we could meet this fellow. We could explain to him what the situation is, and I'm sure that...
And let Doreen get off the hook, to use a term I'm sure she understands. Well, Doreen, do you think Mr. Fletcher's suggestion is acceptable?
No, Mrs. Davidson. That'd be a cop-out.
Yes, and there is going to be no cop-out. Take Burns back to her cell, Mr. Fletcher. You have until tomorrow afternoon to consider your explanation.
Yes, Mrs. Davidson.
One moment, Mrs. Morris. How could you be so naive as to allow yourself to get involved to this extent?
As I said, Mrs. Davidson, I had no idea. I thought it would be good for Doreen. A harmless friendship.
That may well be, but might I suggest that in future you investigate more fully before permitting anything like this to happen again?
Yes, of course.
That'll be all.
Chrissy, you awake?
What do you want?
Just tell me one thing. Why?
Why what?
Why the change? I thought you felt about me the same way as I feel about
just leave it alone, will you?
Just tell me why. What happened? Look, if it's someone else...
No. No, there's no one else.
So what is it then? Chrissy, I need to know.
All right. You disgust me. Anything else?
You still haven't answered me question.
Well, look, just put yourself in my place, eh? There I was, stuck in jail, pregnant, all alone. I needed you then, Mick. I really did. So I have my baby, and then she's taken away from me. And I'm left to work it all out, all by myself. Then up comes parole. And I think, good. Maybe this is a chance to start again. Maybe even get Elizabeth back. And then right out of the blue, in lobs Mick. All lovey-dovey. Says he's going to get me out of there. Give me an even better chance to get Elizabeth back. That was really good timing, Mick. But where were you when we needed you, eh?
I came back as soon as I could.
Did you? Well, it wasn't soon enough, was it? Why couldn't you have come before she was born? We could have been married then, and she would have had a proper home to go to instead of being stuck in that bloody dump. So come on, Mick. What's the story? Where have you been all this time, then?
Look, I know you can get married in prison. And I know you can even have your kids in to visit. But it all attracts attention. Well, sometimes even the newspapers give it a splash, and I couldn't afford that kind of risk. Still can't. I was hoping you wouldn't have to know this. Not ever. But about 10 years ago in South Australia, I got in a bit of a blue. It got out of hand and they called the cops. I went a bit mad and I thumped one of them. He must have had a glass jaw or something because I didn't hit him that hard. Anyway, I went up for assault, a few other things. Got myself a term out at Yatla. Bastard of a place. I stuck it out as long as I could. I even came within a couple of months of me parole. But I saw a chance and I took it. I went over the wall.
So you mean you're still wanted in South Australia?
Under a different name, of course. Mark Brendan, but the face is still the same.
You bloody idiot. You stupid bloody idiot. Do you know what that means? Do you know what that means if they catch up to you?
I go back to South Australia in the tank.
You? I couldn't give a bugger about you. What about Elizabeth, eh? What about the normal home we're supposed to be giving to her, eh? Normal home? An ex-convict who's on the run for her father and a mother who's going to be gone for aiding and abetting. She's going to end up right back in that dump, Mick. All because of you. Because of you. Mick, don't you think you should stay indoors? I mean, someone might spot you.
They won't. I told you, it's been a long time. Look, I tried to tell you last night. I'm safe as long as I don't do anything to get noticed.
Yeah, such as having your picture took at a prison wedding.
Exactly. I just have to lead a normal life. I've laid low up till now. And I've worked hard and settled down, so if I do get busted, I've got a lot going for me. We have. It'll be all right.
Morning.
Hello, Mrs. M.
Ready to go?
Yeah, I'll just get my bag.
Oh, it's a nice place you've got here, Mick.
Thanks.
You've gone to a lot of trouble.
Ready?
Looking very tired. You're not working too hard, eh?
I didn't get much sleep last night. Excited about seeing Elizabeth, I suppose.
Well, I don't know. Wish I was going out for a walk with a fella.
Oh, yeah, for the first and last time.
So what? Out is out.
Now, you don't know that it's going to be the last time, honey. He might like you, want to see you again.
Oh, yeah. Especially after all the bull I handed him. 36, 24, 34. Look at me.
You sent him a photo, didn't you? So he knows what you look like. It's the opposite of exaggerate. Oh, never mind. You send him your photo, and he wants to see you again, so I reckon it's a very good sign.
Oh, yeah, I never thought of that. No. What about all that other stuff I said about where I
Go on,
work?
Burns. The governor's waiting for you.
Oh, Struth.
Go on, enjoy yourself.
I doubt if she'll enjoy this little outing. Come on.
Good luck, Mum. Poor kid.
I still wish it was me.
Thank you, Mrs. Morris. I'm sorry I had to do
Oh,
that.
that's all right. I quite understand you've got to have some form of identification.
Well, I think you're both very fortunate to have someone like Mrs. Morris who's prepared to give up her free time to help you.
Yeah, we are.
Oh, he's that delightful little child of yours.
Do you think she really cares about that child?
Seems that way, doesn't it? Oh, just one thing before you go. Elizabeth must be back by 4 o'clock, and not a moment later. Can't throw our system out, can we?
She'll be back by 4.
Mrs. Davidson. Yes, Doreen, what is it? Couldn't I just write to him and explain what's happened? He would understand, I know he would.
We have already discussed that, and I have told you no. Now, I know it's not going to be easy for you, but you owe it to that man to meet him face to face.
Yes, Mrs. Davidson.
Fine. Now, shall we go? We'll be back a little later, Mr. Fletcher.
The way things are going, I reckon I should be up for foreman in about 18 months, which will put me into a pretty good wage bracket. So, if the cost of housing doesn't skyrocket, we should be able to put a deposit on a home of our own.
Well, where would you like to live?
Oh, well, haven't given much thought. Wait till I get the job, I suppose.
Well, in the meantime, you're pretty comfortable here. I mean, you've got room to move in and it's clean.
Oh, I wasn't too good when we first moved in. Had to scrub the place from top to bottom, splash a bit of paint around.
Well, you've done a really good job. All the makings of a good husband and father, I'd say.
I hope so.
Well, I must go. I'll be back around about 3:30, 3:45.
Well, shouldn't you stay here with us?
Well, don't you trust yourself with your family?
Oh, yeah, of course I do.
Surely I can trust you as well. Enjoy your day. Do you think she'd hear if I said goodbye to her?
I doubt it.
Well, I won't waste my breath then.
I'll see you later, Mrs. Morris.
Good girl. Where's this one? Now talk. Put this one on. There's a good.
Where did you arrange to meet him? Over there by the lake. Oh, I wonder if that's him. Huh. Perhaps he's changed his mind.
You're not getting out of it that easily, my girl. Come on.
Doreen? It is Doreen, isn't it?
Yeah. So you must be.
Peter. Pleased to meet you. And she's the governor at Wentworth.
Yeah, that's right.
I see.
Do you? I mean, you're not all upset about all that all the rubbish I wrote in my letters.
Certainly not, Doreen. I understand perfectly. Being in prison, no family of your own, no friends, and then an opportunity to correspond with someone on the outside. I'm sure I would have done the same thing myself.
You reckon?
Of course. One doesn't have to be a resident of Bastille to be a prisoner, you know. After my day's work, I escape into the sanctity of my humble abode. If it wasn't for my music, I don't think I could face the outside world. Do you like Bach?
Oh, I can take it or leave it, you know.
Then take it, Doreen, take it. Before that disappears, too.
Oh, it disappears, does it?
Doesn't everything worthwhile disappear eventually? Forests, freedom, peace.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I get it now. Don't get much of that at Wentworth, though.
And people, Doreen, people. The strangest creatures of all. You get to know one of them, and just when you think you've got a friend.
Yeah, they disappear quicker than anything. I've had that trouble all my life.
Really? But you're so warm, so open. I thought it only happened to me.
Oh, no, you haven't got that problem all on your own.
More's the pity. I wonder if you'll disappear, too.
Oh, well, if I do, you'll know where to find me, won't you?
Yeah. Come on, darling. I better get you ready to go back. There we go. Yeah. There's Teddy. There's Teddy.
What do you think you're doing?
I'm just getting her ready to go back to the home.
Well, you can just take your hands off her. She's my daughter.
Oh, she's my daughter too, you know.
Look, Mick, I'm not going to have a blue in front of her. You just remember this. I look after Elizabeth. I always have done, and I always will. Just because you're the father, that doesn't mean a thing to me as far as I'm concerned. Ready to go back?
Oh, won't be long. Chrissy's just changing Elizabeth.
Come along, Doreen. It's time we were going.
Oh, well, I'll see you, Peter.
Oh, yes. Perhaps we could meet here again next week.
I'm afraid that won't be possible, Mr. Hope.
Oh?
Well, this was a special dispensation in view of the circumstances. I felt Doreen needed to be taught a lesson.
Yeah, well, I've certainly learned that lesson, Mrs. Davidson, so, can we go now?
Perhaps I could visit you at Wentworth.
Well, that's up to Doreen.
Yeah, well, you see, I've enjoyed meeting you and walking with you and that. And, well, you'd like me to be honest with you, wouldn't you?
Of course.
Well, you see, Peter, it's like this. I think you're a nice enough bloke, but you're just not my type, you know?
Oh, there you are. I was beginning to worry about you.
Oh, we're back, Mr. Fletcher, safe and sound.
Good.
You can take Burns back to her cell now, and her punishment will be recorded as from this morning.
Right.
Oh, haven't I gone through enough already?
You don't seem to understand, Doreen. You have abused privileges, which I consider to be very serious indeed, so I've decided to withdraw your weekly phone call. And in view of your misuse of male privileges, causing embarrassment and inconvenience to members of the public, not to mention members of my staff, censorship of all male will be reintroduced forthwith.
Mrs. Davidson, you can't. Don't you know what they'll do to me?
You should have thought of that before. Thank you, Mr. Fletcher.
Come on, Burns.
Oh, dear.
Mrs. Morris, I can accept that these two might be a little late getting back due to their involvement with Elizabeth, but I would have thought you could keep an appointment.
Matron, it's only 4:10.
Which is not 4 o'clock, is it? I don't know how you run your office, Mrs. Morris, but we run this home according to a schedule. Now, that schedule has been disrupted, and Elizabeth is late for her bath.
Oh, Elizabeth's already had a bath and a full change, matron.
Well, that was an absolute waste of time on your part, Miss Latham.
Come on, I'll drive you two home. Chrissy?
What did she mean? It was a waste of time.
Pardon?
Me, bathing and changing Elizabeth. Why would that be a waste of time?
She's upset because we're late.
No. No, she's upset because I've screwed up her schedule. She's going to take it out on my baby.
Chrissy, stop it. She was upset because we were late, and that's all.
You sure, Mrs. Morris?
Of course I'm sure.
Well, she won't have to worry. Elizabeth won't be back late next time. She won't be back late next time.